What is up, everybody? I'm Animadude, and welcome back to some more Steins Gate linear bounded phonogram. When we left off, I don't really know, but apparently Yukitaka understands. So let's see what's happening. In the end, it took the three of us, Faris, Kuroki, and I, over an hour to explain the situation to Yukitaka. Oh yeah, Okabe was having a bad time. That's what happened. We spoke about how Okabe had time-leaped repeatedly, only to witness CERN and the Rounders cause Mayori's death over and over. Normally, Okabe's testimony would be essential for verification of the fine details. However, Okabe was almost in a state of insanity from repeated mental fatigue. It was surprising. Having received that much mental shock without hope, it was a miracle that he had been able to endure this harshness without any training. Even just thinking about his situation caused me so much stress, and yet, somehow, he managed to stay sane. As a result, we were able to talk about what happened to Okabe, each of us clarifying any misunderstanding we had. But his reaction wasn't a pleasant one. Furrowing his eyebrows, he looked down at the floor thoughtfully. It's understandable that it's hard to believe, even for me. If somebody apart from Okabe had told me something like this, no, even for Okabe, if he hadn't spoken in such a desperate way, I probably wouldn't have believed him. It was just like one of his Chunibyo stories. Everything would have ended with me saying, "Nice Chunibyo delusion, man." Yeah, because that seems how you talk all the time. You're like, "Nice Chunibyo delusion, man. Punch your shoulder, haha, funny." Unexpectedly, Yukitaka spoke.
僕と君のお父さん、正一が大学生時代からの友人で、彼の研究に出資していたとさっき話したね。
But then you found out that he was evil? In regards to that, I had been surprised, but I had to put the matter aside at the time. The reason he had stopped funding was because Papa's lifeline as a researcher had run out. Papa had said nothing to me since I was a child. But that was just as a subjective view. Yukitaka probably had his own version of what happened. Anyway, now wasn't the time for me to hold a grudge against him. Papa had taken Mother and I to his hometown of Aomori so that he could immerse himself in research without having to worry about money. In the end, I guess that was a sign of his frustration. Of course, I understood that Yukitaka had his own circumstances at the time. He apparently had issues with cash flow, which made it hard to invest at the time. So I had no intention of blaming Yukitaka.
じゃあ、相対性理論超越委員会の研究の内容が何だったかは。
It sounded so strange. His voice contained frustration and sadness, which was also mixed with a hint of nostalgia. And in response to his question, I became a little stiff. I didn't even know that Yukitaka had been investigating in Papa's research. Investing. Yeah, investigating, too. I'm sure he investigated a little bit, you know, if he's going to invest him. So, does Yukitaka think time travel's possible then? Did we informed him of the details as well? Is that what it just said? But the contents of Papa's research could only be one thing. Even without being told, one could easily figure it out. That was the side of Papa that I didn't want to acknowledge. But
僕と正一、そして師匠の教授の3人は定期的に会って秘密会議を開いていた。
However, for Papa and Yukitaka, it was probably something very nostalgic and a precious memory of their youth.
僕たちが作ろうとしていたのは、君たちと同じくタイムマシーンだ。
Which is a bad idea. That's not very childish. That's like something very ambitious to try to do. And bad. It's a bad thing to do. It just hurts the people close to you.
せめてロマンと言ってくれないか。
Yukitaka briefly explained about the theory of relativity transcendental committee. Their mentor was originally the first person who had studied time machines. What started it all was when Papa had snuck a look at the professor's notes. Yukitaka and Papa were fascinated by the idea of a time machine and decided to approach the professor. The professor reluctantly agreed to form a group to create a time machine. And that is when Papa gave the group its name. While that person had the ideas, she lacked the practical science and technology, so the person who was doing the research and development was Papa. In other words, it was a combination of the professor's ideas, Yukitaka with the funding, and Papa doing actual research. What they did was actually exactly like what the Future Gadget Lab did, which cantered around Okabe. Okabe with the ideas, me, who made the theory, and Hashida doing the actual work. Put simply, Papa was responsible for both Hashida and my roles. I don't know, you're doing some of the work, right? Aren't you? And, hey, I mean, we actually accomplished it and they didn't, so, in their face. Naturally, when he heard about the time leap machine, Yukitaka would have probably realized that although he didn't seem to voice any concerns, the things that they couldn't accomplish, the next generation had done. I wondered how Papa and Yukitaka felt about that. Was he proud? Or perhaps jealous? Naturally, I didn't really know how he felt, but he had probably had some very complicated feelings.
同じものを作ろうとしていたからわかることもある。いや、違うな。僕がわかっているわけじゃないか。
Unusual for Yukitaka. He'd said something that wasn't very articulated well. You should translate that to wasn't articulated very well. The very should be after the articulated.
どういうことですか？多分ね。僕はそのセルンと300人委員会のことを知っている。
Now it was my turn to furrow my eyebrows at his words.
2つの方面って、パパ、どういうこと？
一つ目は僕がというよりも僕たちの恩師であったその教授が知ってたんだと思う。教授はタイムマシン研究を極秘に行っていた。いつどこで誰から漏れるかわからないから協力者も最小限に制限していたくらいだよ。正一はその方針にあっさりと賛同してたけど、僕は共同出資者が欲しかったタイミングもあったから少し困った時があったね。けど今にして思うと教授はセルンがそういうところだと知ってたんだろう。
Wow, she was just like, CERN probably wants to kill us for what we're doing. In other words, she had foresight at that time. Kind of like Okabe. Although Okabe was just spouting nonsense. And happened to be right. But for somehow, some way, she just knew. However, Okabe being as he was, making a judgment like that would be difficult.
では、2つ目っていうのは
300人委員会のことだよ。これも正確にはそのものを知っているというわけじゃないけれどね。
I couldn't help but look puzzled at what he just said. Gently smiling at my expression, he continued his story.
君からすると秘密結社というのは現実離れしてフィクションじみた大層なものなんじゃないかい？
Yeah. After being asked so abruptly, I didn't know how to respond. Yukitaka had probably already predicted my reaction.
実はね、秘密結社っていうのはありふれた珍しくもなんともないものなんだよ。僕くらいの実業家にとってはね。
That's scary. Who exactly were we fighting with? Without thinking, my brain responded with at-gen speak. I had probably become expressionless as Yukitaka tried to guess what I was thinking. Yukitaka continued his account. A long time ago, before the Industrial Revolution, the dissemination and publishing of information costed a lot more than it does today. In addition to a fast-evolving society within all the new businesses, opportunists and merchants knew that doing things on their own wouldn't work anymore. In particular, at the time change, the number of large businesses increased, changing the economy into a completely different thing than what it was. Until then, businesses were very specialized. They covered over a specific niche. But that was not the case for successful businesses. In such a situation, people who wanted to protect their interests tried to form unions to cooperate with each other. They were different from state institutions, as they were privatized and were not open to the public. What they did was kept top secret, and in some cases, IT's members were kept secret too. These organizations grew into secret societies. Of course, there were also secret societies that existed for non-economic reasons. For example, the infamous Sicilian Mafia, who originally tried to resist those who would try to take over their island. Another example were the Knights Templar, but they were probably just a conspiracy theory. While France is known for giving out sentences of hearsay, this also happened in other countries too. In particular, Portugal, whose king became a member of the Knights Templar, integrated these ideas into the country. In other words, Portugal is currently exactly like the Knights Templar, although that can't really be called a secret society. In addition to Soviet Union, they're another example. While it collapsed before it could reach its peak originally, it was an example of secret society which turned into a nation.
君たちは知らないだろうけれど、未だに秘密結社はたくさんあって、それは世界を動かしてる。でも、それは別に特別なことでも何でもない。当たり前のことなんだよ。理解しているかどうかわからないけれど、君たちのラボだって、ある意味では秘密結社だ。それをまず認識すべきだよ。
We're not a I mean, I guess we kind of are operating in secret. I don't know if I call ourselves a society, though. Honestly, I was a bit taken aback from being told this. I'd always thought something like the existence of secret societies were conspiracy theories created from Shinibyo delusions, especially with being around Okabe all the time. However, the elections within secret societies often affected developed nations. Naturally, the main goal for these societies is to make a profit, but a few secret societies were not profit-oriented.
300人委員会という結社がその意味でどのぐらいのランクに属する組織かはわからない。ただ相当なものなのは確かだろう。
This is just I'm spitballing here. This is a little guess, but I'm assuming 300. I could be wrong. It's almost in. I feel like it's somewhere. I don't know where it is. If it's, I don't know if the name gives it away or anything. Well, maybe we'll figure out.
ビジネスで言えば喧嘩を売るべきではない相手だ。向こうの目的も規模も手の内もわからない。特に考え方がわからないのが一番痛い。もしかしたら互いの利益の落としどころを探って和解できる相手かもしれないのに、それもわからない。
Papa.
Fairy's called out to her father anxiously. In contrast, he was frowning.
僕は僕たちの町であるこの秋葉原でこんな自分勝手をした連中を許せない。彼らには多少なりとも報いが必要だ。
He's getting serious now. It was at that moment that I finally understood. Yukitaka had been angry.
おや、少し失礼するよ。
He answered his phone. And then he shortly hung up.
どうやら手がかりがつかめたようだ。君たちの言うラウンダーという連中の一人を捕まえたよ。
How? You just caught one of them? I mean, good job, Yukitaka. Man, wow, that was easy.
捕まえた。
Okabe had been saying that the Rounders had killed Mayuri. To be able to catch a merciless killer like that was... I wondered who Yukitaka was exactly. He was getting further and further away from reality. Talking about all this nonsense and then catching a person who's killed Mayuri hundreds, if not thousands of times. Perhaps at this very moment I was dreaming or something. No, I should stop thinking about escaping from this. In any case, it didn't matter if it was like a manga. Yukitaka's words were like a straight line that pierced through the darkness. According to Yukitaka, the story went like this. While speaking with a colleague at a bar, a man who had been tied up was suddenly thrown in front of them. The man had been beaten severely and was bruised badly. After questioning him, the man started saying by himself that he was a rounder. I thought they, like, died. Like, tried to kill themselves before you could get to them. Wasn't that in this game? Or am I just thinking about some other secret society? The person who brought the man was a young woman with braids. Apparently, she had disappeared on a bike, according to the bar owner. Suzal did it? Suzal's working for this guy? They didn't have any idea who the woman was. Oh, no, Suzal just gave this guy to them. Okay, interesting. However, just from that, we'd obtained information about the Rounders. It was as if that woman had given us a present, although there was a chance that it was a trap. According to the Rounder, they worked in independent cells and didn't have any information about other groups. A person named FB was the apparent leader. The man who had been captured was working for a person who took orders from FB directly. Oh, great. So it's Moeka. Ugh. That's not big help. She won't tell us anything. Their primary objective was apparently to secure old IBM 5100 computers. The thing is, I don't think Moeka even knows herself what's going on, so this won't help. Like, what can she tell us? Oh yeah, we tried to kill Mayuri, that's it, I guess. However, since yesterday, a special French division of Rounders had apparently arrived in Japan. Their objective was to raid the Future Gadget Lab and secure the Time Leap machine. A pretty concise goal, makes sense. The Rounders' role was to monitor the lab members like Okabe and ensure that they didn't escape from Akihabara. Unfortunately, Mayuri and Hashida had already been caught by the Rounders and taken elsewhere. When questioned about their whereabouts, even he didn't know where they had been taken.
君たちの作ったタイムマシーン、タイムリープマシーンか。そちら別動隊が確保する予定だったそうだよ。
Wait, she said he. I mean, it's not Moeka? Great. I was thinking, okay. Well, I guess either Mayuri's dead or we'll just never find her. Because if anyone can find her, it would be Daru. And Daru's also gone.
警備会社に知り合いがいてね。大檜山ビルは警備させている。
This meant coming to Faris' house had been the right decision. Had we just stayed at the lab, he would have run into the Rounders, who were going to secure the Time Leap machine. When I imagined that situation, chills ran down my spine. Faris had tears in her eyes after hearing her father's words. Since her precious friends were in an awful situation, she probably couldn't just sit around and do nothing. But what were we supposed to do? What could we do? Without thinking, I voiced my thoughts. It was obviously difficult. After all, we didn't have enough clues. To begin with, there wasn't any guarantee that FB was even in Japan. Well, I knew I was asking too much. Were Hashida here? We could have used his hacking skills to find something out. The point about hacking was that with just a single computer, we could access information through a network. The most important thing was being able to penetrate the opponent's security and passwords. This would give us an insight into their objectives and way of thinking. In that sense, we could take a different approach from the stalemate situation, and there would be a chance that we could outmaneuver the Rounders. But Hashida wasn't here. Even though we were supposed to be looking for him, without his power, it was just an ironic situation. Kinda what I said. I mean, we could do something if Hashida was here, but since Daru isn't here, we can't do anything. That sucks. Why couldn't it have just been Mayuri? Well, the best situation is no one gets captured. But a good situation is Daru doesn't get captured. That's a good situation. Even for the development of the Time Leap machine, his contributions were large. Unlike Okabe, he was a presence necessary at the lab. Wow. Okay, Okabe has helped some. Like, I'm almost completely sure, like, some of the things he said has helped, like, create, like, the Time Leap machine and stuff. But I very well could be wrong. I tried thinking up some solutions, but I couldn't come up with any good ideas. At that moment, Yukitaka answered his phone again.
今の僕たちでは手に負えない事態のようだ。
I think the situation's been out of control for a little while now, but thank you, Yukitaka. While his words sounded like he was giving up, his expression wasn't one of a person who had given up.
パパ、どうするの？
ちょうどいい。ルミホにも改めて教えておこう。自分ではどうしようもないときは、誰か信頼できる人間に力を借りるのがビジネスの鉄則だ。ちょうど僕がついさっき元締めに力を借りたようにね。人間はその個人だけで完結した存在じゃない。一人の人間の周りにはその人間を取り巻く人々がいて、社会があって歴史がある。その人間が過去から積み重ねてきた経験も、周囲にいる人々も、生まれ育った環境も全部ひっくるめてその人になるんだ。道を示してくれた教授がいて、正一がいて、ルミホがいて、この秋葉原の街があって、今ここに。
Yukitaka could probably include CERN and the Committee of 300 in the same line. Regardless of how powerful they might be, they must have some kind of weakness. Is Illuminati on there? That's what I'm talking about. They must be people who had family members or relations. Even America, with its massive military force, cannot just do what it likes in the international community without permission. Yeah. True. Even dictators from history haven't been able to do everything that they wanted selfishly at all times. Therein lies a possibility. If the Committee of 300 is a European-based organization, then secret societies in India and the Middle East should also exist. There should also be societies in Japan, China, and Russia, which influence the international communities. If those organizations were to be the catalyst, even if we weren't able to completely stop CERN and the Committee of 300, we might be able to restrict their activities and even regulate it.
もちろん、その結果が僕たちの望む結果につながらない可能性はある。それでも、何もできずにただ座っているよりはマシだ。
Saying so, Yukitaka began to make a phone call. It was almost entirely in English, and at times, there were words that even I don't understand.
お嬢様、マキセ様。
While we watched Yukitaka on the phone, Kuroki
こう
came
してい
over.
ても体力を無駄にするばかりです。今のうちに少しでもお休みください。
Yeah, it looks like it's getting late, so probably should. I mean, there's nothing we can do by ourselves. It wasn't like I didn't understand what Kuroki was saying. I just couldn't help but feel powerless. I guess if we were relying on Yukitaka to work things out, then there's nothing for us to do. But even so, with the current situation, I couldn't even consider resting.
クーニャン、黒木の言う通りだよ。少し休んで。
Wow, not even gonna call me Kurinan or anything, just Kunan. Okay, okay, good enough. Very simple. Fetty said so while splitting my arm. Petting my arm?
クーニャン、わかってる？今自分がどれだけひどい顔色してるか。京馬と同じだよ。休まないと。
Wow, I look just like him? That's kind of crazy. My hair color changed. Huh? My appearance? I hadn't noticed it myself, but Faris had pointed out that I looked completely exhausted. Now that she mentioned it, I'd stayed up all night. Last night, and I hadn't eaten anything either. As a bonus, summer was in full swing. It was only natural that I would be
京
exhausted.
馬やマユシ、ダルニャンが大変な状況なのに、クーニャンにまで何かあったらどうしようもないよ。京馬を助けるためにも、クーニャンは元気でいないとダメ。
After being told that, I finally had noticed that I hadn't been thinking rationally. Seriously, it was just as Fatis had said. If I collapse from exhaustion, I wouldn't be able to do anything to help Okabe, Mayori, or Hashida. While I was hesitating and impatient, more than anything, I was a researcher who valued logic. In that case, I should follow my own motto.
わかったわ。フェイリスさん、黒木さん、ありがとう。少し休みます。
岡部様のお隣に寝室を用意してあります。ご案内いたしますので、こちらへ。
Why can't it be the same room?
何かあったらすぐに知らせるから安心して、クーニャン。
うん、お願い。
Aw, look Look at them being friends. Giving my thanks, I headed towards the room. She ended up calling me something weird. Or was it just my imagination? We're gonna have one of those weird dreams again? I couldn't sleep. Even though my mind and body had never been this tired before, I just couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned countless times on the bed and even tried counting numbers, but it didn't help. From just lying down, only negative thoughts came to mind. I shook my head countless times, trying to get those thoughts out of my head each time. I couldn't do anything about it. I wanted to save my friends quickly, but I didn't have the ability to do so. For the time being, all I could do was rely on Yukitaka, and hopefully recover a little strength in the meantime. I knew this was true. I was supposed to know this. But it wasn't any good. I couldn't do it. I couldn't help but feel frustrated at my lack of power and experience.
自分ではどうしようもないときは、誰か信頼できる人間に力を借りるのがビジネスの鉄則だ。
So, Okabe? I mean, who else? We don't trust anybody else. What Yukitaka had said earlier echoed through my mind. He's probably trying to warn us, I guess. There was always the potential for the situation to become even more complicated. If we had carelessly made the wrong decision, then we might have been caught by the Rounders. And then, we would have never known what Yukitaka was planning to do. Right now, there was nothing we could do in this situation. We could only rely on what Yukitaka was planning. In that case, getting some rest was the best choice. That's supposed to be true. But... being ashamed of my own immaturity. Wanting something that I didn't have. This is just like being a spoiled brat. Each person should gain experience and abilities based on their own effort and accomplishments. That's exactly what makes society function and how each individual determines his or her own place in society. There would be no meaning in a world where everybody had equal superhuman powers and no individuality. Because I had lived in the US, which celebrated diversity, I knew very well how dry and tasteless a world like that would be. But at the same time, I had succeeded in society, but I hadn't matured or grown up. Huh? I just spoke out loud. Professors and seniors? Once again, Yukitaka's words echoed in my mind.
人間はその個人だけで完結した存在じゃない。一人の人間の周りには、その人間を取り巻く人々がいて、社会があって、その人間が過去から積み重ねてきた経験も、周囲にいる人々も、生まれ育った環境も、全部ひっくるめてその人になるんだ。道を示してくれた教授がいて、正一がいて、ルミホがいて、この秋葉原の街があって、今ここに僕がいるようにね。
I suddenly sat up in the bed. Yukitaka had people he could rely on. I also had people who I could rely on. While our ages were different and the number of people who would also be different, that didn't mean I was alone. There was Papa, Mom, Faris, Yukitaka, and Kuroki. And also my professors and seniors from my university. There was also Okabe, Hashida, and Mayori. There were a lot of people who were my allies. Just as Yukitaka was asking for help from those around him, there should be people I could ask for help too. It was past 11 p.m. It was early in the morning in America. Considering the time, I drew a mental list of the people I could reach out to. The list was only a few. But it was then that I realized something. My intuition had been spot on. My main professor at the Victor Kandrel University Neuroscience Department was announcing his results today. Today, it would be pretty difficult for him to answer any calls or mails because of the event. In fact, I probably won't even be able to contact my seniors either. I didn't know the contact details of anyone else at my university.
どうしてこんなタイミングに
At that point, I remember what Okabe had said.
世界の意志がマユリの死を望んでいるようだった。
Come on, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope, Kurisu. Okabe found hope. Not right away, obviously, but he did. The will of the world. A time paradox. I wondered whether I was already under the influence of the will of the world. Even if Okabe hadn't been caught by the Rounders, he said that Mayuri would end up dying, no matter how the situation was altered. It was definite. The will of the world, the laws of nature. Well, Okabe had, or didn't say those exact words. It sounded like it was destiny. Was the fact that I couldn't contact my colleagues also the same kind of thing? The thing Okabe called the will of the world, was it inhibiting what I was trying to do? Sorry guys, being really bad at speaking right now. Speak words not goodly I do. No, it can't be. I can't believe that such a predetermined world would exist. The idea of fate predetermining everything sounded too ridiculous. I could never accept it. If that was the case, then there should be some phenomenon that is causing this. After analyzing the cause, we should be able to resolve the problem. That should be possible.
問題はどうすればその原因を特定できるのか、どうすればそれを取り除けるのか。
Was it useless just relying on my own strength? I clenched my phone. Nothing helpful came to mind, just as some slight hope appeared, it disappeared in the next moment. We don't have any people on our phone either, do we? We have Felice. Nice to meet you. I am Akise. First, it would be great. That's it. Great.
どうしたらいいの
I said where to open my phone. And then within my address list, a single word caught my eye. Papa. I tried calling him a few days ago, but was given a cold shoulder. But I wanted to rely on anybody. And right now, that person was my beloved Papa. Maybe because I haven't been feeling that way, I had unconsciously held my phone and tried calling him. But
そうよね。当然よね、こんな時間に。それとも私だからかしら。
Papa hated me. Yeah, he might be holding a grudge. There's no way he would answer my call. Closing my phone, I got up drowsily. And then I left the guest bedroom and gently opened the door of the next room. The room next door was just as dark as this one, the other. But I could hear the breathing of someone sleeping. Oh, that's so precious. Look at them. Two cuties.
岡部、ごめんなさい。
Man, took us a long time. Maybe we could sleep if we slept with Okabe, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he looks like he's sleeping just fine. Okabe had been completely worn out and had been suffering so much. I wanted to save him from that. But I didn't know how. I didn't know what I could do for the person I love.
天才よ。私なんて。
I was confident that I had tried my best. I'd done everything that I could. And I had a good track record. But that didn't mean anything right now. I wasn't able to make my father proud, save my friends, or even be useful for the person I love. I gently placed my hand on Okabe's cheek. Look at how small her hand is. Oh, that's so precious. It's so small. I felt that he had lost weight. It's probably because he had repeatedly gained new memories from the time leaping. This had used up a tremendous number of calories. He'd been in so much despair that he ran all around Akihabara. It was a tragic sight.
私、こんなにも無力だ。何もできない。
Tears began to flow from my eyes. My fingertips, which were touching Okabe's cheek, were getting covered in tears.
嘆くな。辛いのは、一番辛いのは岡部なんだから。私がここで泣いちゃう。
That was right. The one who was in the most pain was Okabe, having to watch Mayuri die over and over again. But what should we do? Suddenly an image came to my mind. The time leap machine. The time machine we created as Okabe had instructed. Now it might be stepping stone to saving Mayuri or Hashida from their current situation. But the past was changed. What would happen? Using the time leap machine to go to the past, what would happen to the present situation here? We had no idea which rules or theories we should use when trying to alter the past or go back in time. Carrying out D-mail experiments that changed past events had caused major changes to the world. However, we were unable to perceive that change ourselves. Everything was determined by the one with the power of the reading Steina. Okabe had confirmed it to be true. There was also the possibility that he was just lying or deluded, which would instantly destroy the entire theory. Naturally, for us, we continued to work with him. We believed his claim, and to develop the time leap machine. Even so, Okabe was the only one who could observe the changes in time, so it seemed like something extremely subjective. In short, even when changing the past, the only one who could perceive the changes was Okabe. Even if I changed the past, the moment the world line changed, my memories would disappear. In that case, even if Mayuri was in a life-threatening situation, I wouldn't be able to save her. The fact that the current situation already indicates that Mayuri has already died repeatedly means that this is too risky of a decision to make. So in the end, we couldn't make changes to the current situation by changing the past without Okabe's participation. Without reading Steina, it was meaningless to interfere with the past. Something only Okabe could do. Something that Okabe bared the sole responsibility for. Having said that much, I realized that a lot of my frustration from earlier had begun to fade away. It was just impatience. But at least now, it wasn't a situation where I couldn't think of anything. Oh, that's so cute. Well, I muttered this jokingly. It may have been true. I suddenly felt drowsy and tired. Just go to sleep right here. Just go to sleep right here. I left quietly as not to wake Okabe up and returned to my own bedroom. The next morning, after waking up, the best part about waking up, I cleaned myself up a little and headed for the living room. Yukitaka had apparently spent the night on the phone with Kuroki at his side. In order to obtain information from other sources, a large LCD TV had been stationed in the living room to display a live news feed. Wow, LCD, taking it back to the good old days. That's weird that LCDs are old now.
Kurisu-chan, ohayo.
Ohayou gozaimasu. どんな状況ですか?
あまり思わしくはないね。
Oh, you guys remember plasma screen TVs? Those were the bomb, huh? The bomb diggity. After negotiating and bargaining overnight, Yukitaka learned quite a bit about the organizational structure of the Rounders. Do you guys remember cathode ray tubes? Whoa, those were crazy. Following the lines of communication they had been able to capture a decent number of higher-up agents, but only 90s kids will ever understand what CRTs are. While they had successfully secured some agents, even now they hadn't been able to get the personal information of FP or any information about Mayuri or Hashida.
予想以上に彼らにとって今回の行動は重要な価値を持ったものだったみたいだね。
In front of Yukitaka were some documents and maps with red symbols and arrows drawn on them. Just nonsense. He's just like, let me scribble here, and I'll put an arrow here. That sounds pretty good. Here's a circle. Just from looking at the map roughly, you could see their reach not only touch Japan, but Southeast Asia, the United States, and Europe as well. Southeast Asia. What is that? Is that Korea? Is that what that is? What else is Southeast Asia? I mean, there's a lot in Southeast Asia. I don't know. Is it all over Southeast Asia, or is it just like, you know, technically, is Japan Southeast Asia? Because Japan's kind of east, and then it's kind of southern-ish, you know? So does that count? Really, what is Southeast Asia, you know, when you think about it? Just as the map had indicated, it seemed the actual confirmations had taken place.
普通はここまでやれば
Confrontations?
反撃に出るか交渉に出るかしてくるものだけどね。
As Yukitaka had predicted, even. Wow, I couldn't... Predicted. Perhaps this matter was in fact a very high priority for their scheme. Sometimes organizations will accept losses if something is given priority over other things. In regards to Yukitaka's actions against the Rounders, this seemed to be the case. I mean, it does make sense, really. I mean, if you know you literally have time travel, I guess you could just change it so you didn't have any more losses anymore. So, I mean, theoretically, you wouldn't have any, you know, you're not really taking losses in your own mind. You're really just, you know, it's for a greater cause, I guess. Indeed, CERN was the driving force behind the Rounders and for the Committee of 300 that governed it. Monopolizing time travel was its utmost priority. Those who controlled the time would be able to fix their mistakes in the past. Exactly. It feels like someone else said that just a second ago. Just in a different, much longer way. As previously mentioned, it was like the power of God. Why would they let somebody else have this power? In order for them to rule the world, this kind of attitude would be understandable. Or no one could have it, and then everyone would be all fine and dandy, so no one would have the power of time travel, because that would kind of suck for any other parties involved. But the problem was that this put us in a bad situation at the time. At the same time, you know, I mean, if we want to get technical, CERN might be... No, CERN isn't good, guys. I was trying to be like, maybe they just want to take the time machine away from us so nobody bad uses it, just in case we're bad. But then I remember other experiments and killing a lot of people. And then I remember they did experiments to get time travel, so obviously they want time travel. They're not just trying to keep it from the rest of the world. They want it first. And also, I'm pretty sure they started World War III. But, you know, who can really say?
圧力をかけ続けてはいるけれど、あまり芳しくはない。このまま300人委員会と真正面から渡り合うのは得策じゃないが。
Even saying this, his expression already seemed to indicate that he had not made up his mind.
パパ。
ああ、ルミホ。おはよう。
Oh, she changed. She's not in the cat outfit anymore. Buddies had appeared in the living room and had probably quickly understood her father's state at a glance. She sat down next to him and grabbed his arm
心
closely.
配をかけてしまったな。
Aww.
でも、パパはまだ大丈夫だよ。
That's so adorable. Little Rumio. That's weird calling her Rumio. Little Fuddies. Fuddy's expression was complicated and reflected her feelings. She was so worried about Mayori Hashida no Okabe at the same time she was worried about her father who was overdoing it. Yukitaka was probably the overachieving type, just for his daughter's friends and also the city of Akihabara. He probably felt like he had to do something. That's probably why Fuddies was worried about that her father would exceed his own limits. I mean, it technically is an Akihabara matter too, since these terrorists are attacking Akihabara, and they like did a huge bomb threat thing. So, I mean, the Rumiho's Fuddies' friends and the bomb of Akihabara is, you know, only if we had Bruce Willis, then we would be able to fix the situation right quick, right? But at the same time, if Yukitaka didn't continue to struggle, then we probably wouldn't be able to save Mayori or Hashida. You know, it's weird because sometimes I have to add words, and then sometimes I add words and it makes it worse. You know, Fuddies had probably realized this dilemma. Is it a zero time dilemma? Is it a zero? Is that the third game? Is that what the third game's called? Man, I should know this. My favorite series.
ありがとう、ルミホ。
Patting Fuddies' head, Yukitaka picked up his phone to make another call, and then, On the LCD TV, a news story was
次
shown.
のニュースです。本日未明、葛西臨海公園の近くの海で
There was a car in the water, and we got it out. Thanks. That's
ワゴ
all.
ン車が1台海の中に沈んでいるのを釣りに来ていた会社員が発見しました。
This is gonna be really funny, guys. Prepare your laughing glands for this one. Wow, that's a big fishing pole. Ha ha ha. That was very funny. Thanks for all the laughs, gamers. An image of Tokyo Bay floated on the scene. Get it? Floated because it's in the water? And next, an image of a white van being pulled out by the water by a crane was shown. As this van was slowly pulled out of the water, it was transported to the harbor, which was lined with blue sheets. For some reason, I felt strangely uneasy at the sight. My nerves became irritated and unpleasant. Feelings raged in my mind. I didn't want to think about it, but I couldn't help it.
車内からは10代と思われる女性の遺体が発見されており、警視庁では身元確認を急いでいます。
Thank you. The newscaster's voice sounded almost emotionless, and the personal belongings of the girl from the van were displayed on the screen. Faris and I were both speechless. Our eyes were wide open from this unbelievable sight that we saw. My own heartbeat resounded annoyingly loud in my ears.
そんな
What was shown on the screen was a phone and a blue hat. We knew that they belonged to our close friend.
嘘よ。
Buddy shook her head almost like a child would. I didn't want to accept it. There was no way I could accept this. Truthfully, this was something that we should have been prepared for, after hearing what Okabe had said, but this was what had been predicted. But we were unable to accept it. There was no way we could accept it. Both Fadis and I couldn't pull our eyes away from the screen. And that's why we didn't notice. Without anyone noticing, Okabe had walked into the living room. I turned around after hearing the voice from behind. There stood the figure of Okabe. His face was whiter than paper. Clenching his head with both of his hands, Okabe knelt down, wailing and shrieking. I felt like I had heard a sound that showed the grief of 1,000 dying souls. But at the same time, while I didn't want to accept the death of a close friend, it made me aware of the undeniable truth. Because Okabe cried out with much grief. It meant that Mayori had died. Until then, just seeing her personal belongings from a van wouldn't convince me of her death. As long as I didn't see her die with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. I probably would have said this. But that was just my own stupidity, clouding my own mind. This was the exact opposite of what a researcher should do. That's right. That moment I had seen her belongings displayed on the screen, I already knew. My precious friend. She no longer existed in this world. I would never be able to see her again. But I couldn't accept it. That was all. That's why I was trying to trick myself. I was hiding the truth. But that was just a foolish thing to do. The reality had been right in front of my eyes. The truth was right there. I ended up knowing, understanding, and accepting it. She just didn't exist. Mayuri didn't exist anymore. But at the same time, I couldn't immerse myself in despair from my lost friend. That's because as a researcher, I had the temperament to deal with any situation that was right in front of me. Okabe was smacking himself and crying in sorrow. At the very least, I would stop him from hurting himself. Okabe looked at the heavens while bitterly cursing out Discern and the rounders who weren't there. Just seeing him like this broke my heart. To think of how much suffering and pain was dwelling within him. I hated the thought. I didn't want to see the person I loved like this. I didn't want the person I loved to suffer like this. It didn't matter. Wasn't there anything I could do for him? Why couldn't I save Okabe? Why did he have to suffer alone? My own helplessness and despair overtook my mind. Okabe's pain and suffering seeped into me. Just listening, I could hear his intense anguish and grief. The only thing Faris and I could do was hold Okabe. We were powerless to help. This was the only thing we could do. Kuroki reached out his hand. Just like yesterday, Okabe was knocked out.
こう連続で眠らせるのは良くないのですが、このままの方がよほど危ないかと思いますので。
Kuroki, you gotta calm down, dude. Stop just knocking everyone out the first thing you do. You jump into the conversation, you're like, oh, knock him out. That can't be your answer to everything, okay, dude? Chill. We're having an emotional moment here, and you just knock him out. We just held on to Okabe, nodding silently. Kuroki looked apologetically at us. We who couldn't even let him sleep peacefully. We probably didn't have the right to object. That's how useless we were. With such little experience, did I even have the right to be called a genius? There's no use in being a genius right now. It was useless. Just as Okabe couldn't save Mayuri, I was unable to save Okabe. I couldn't even bear some of his burden with him. At the very least, if I had Okabe's reading a Stein ability, I might be able to use the time leap machine instead of him. But that was too selfish. Asking for the impossible.
Okabe.
Yukitaka and Kuroki gazed at me anxiously. That was the only thing I could do. At that moment, my phone suddenly rang out. I unconsciously opened my phone. And just like that, I answered it. In the next episode, we'll see who it is. I wonder what it will be. That is cliffhanger, huh? Don't you like that, guys? What's up? How are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. But that's where we're ending the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. And make sure to like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for some more. I promise there will be more. I'm sorry that it's so slow coming, but I like YouTube. I promise. I love you guys. I promise. Please. See you later. I love you. Good night. Good morning. Good morrow. Whatever it is for you guys. Also, other Let's Plays coming as well. By the way, we're gonna read some more of that book. And I'm going to play this other game that a lot of people like, but I haven't played it yet, really. So, and the one time I did, I didn't really like it, but we'll see if I like it now. So, let's see. I'll see you guys then on the surprise game. Bye.